So, welcome back to another episode of That Doesn't Make Sense. I was going to end it at episode 10, but I couldn't. Something just wanted me to continue to fight it. So then I pulled out the Kanye bully thing. And the only reason I pulled out the Kanye bully was because my friend and associate from Florida had pulled one out, and he's a real big fan of Kanye. And I'm a fan of Kanye too, but like I said, enough is enough. When are you gonna grow up and act like a man? A real man, not a spoiled kid that finally got something that he's been fighting for and now he doesn't know how to handle it. So today is gonna be an interesting subject because today I'm going to talk about something that I'm sure that we all kind of go through. I've touched on this before in episode 1, and it's near and dear to my heart because it happens everywhere we go. There are many situations where this happens, and sometimes now that I'm around things more and more and I'm starting to see a lot more, one thing I've noticed in this world that you have to be really open. Because if you're closed-minded and closed-hearted, you're only going to see so much within your perimeter. But if you're open, you can see so much more. So today, we're going to talk about being open to other cultures. So, I grew up, like I have said before, in a blended family. So I had aunts, uncles, grandfathers, grandmothers of other ethnicities. So it was really difficult for me to cope when going in certain situations and seeing I'm not like other black folks. At first, I was a little frustrated by that. It seemed like the thing to be, when you find yourself and you just you wanna experience more. But then I started realizing when I was and this is the thing, when I was trying to find myself, I started finding myself trying to do things. Because look, growing up, as growing up as a black person, we kind of see the things that we see on TV. I'm not saying we emulate it, but we know the truth behind that. Sometimes some of us do, some of us don't. But then some of us, that's their truth. And I wanted that truth. I wanted to live the life of somebody who was, I don't know, I don't even know how to say it, because like there's a certain humbleness in finding yourself, but there's a lot of destruction when you don't find yourself, when you find yourself emulating other things, doing other things that other people do, and then seeing for yourself like this is self-destructive. And it only took me going back to the fact that I have an advantage over a lot of people. I grew up with different ethnicities around me. I grew up with different cultures around me. I grew up understanding culture a little bit different than other people. For example, like I said, some of the things you see on TV. I grew up watching Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, South Central, a lot of things like that. And a lot of things when I grew up in California, or when I was growing up in California, a lot of that stuff was, it was, I could understand it. I could relate to that. It was relatable. But then there were a lot of things that I just couldn't relate to. I mean, I had my mother. My dad wasn't around. My stepdad wasn't around. And he wasn't the best of people, but he taught me a lot of things. good and bad. Good thing I've soaked up a lot of the good. The bad I've already experienced. And then I realized, like, that was another thing. Black people don't get no help. So when I realized that my life, part of my life was messed up because of the legacy that was left for me through parents, through parenting, or I wouldn't say it was horrible parenting. It wasn't the best. They did the best they could do. Now the rest was up to me. You know, so I've seen things and I fixed them. So in fixing these things that I seen wrong with me, not with culture, because what I hate about the word culture now is when you look at me, I'm a black man, you'll say black culture, or you look at that white woman or white man, white culture, Asian culture. When I'm a firm believer that culture is what you make with your family. So let's say you grow up and you see, or you're given a lot of gifts or given a lot of things from your parents to work through, grandparents to work through. That legacy, may it be hidden or exposed, whether it be negative or positive, those things you have to work through. And now when you were growing up, you were doing what your parents told you to do. You were doing what your folks and family members would like. Okay, for example, when on my Porter side, we would have hella family reunions. The family would get together and they would party every summer, almost every month. It was always something positive. As I got older, I started seeing that was dwindling down because of things which, you know, family drama causes people to separate and not want to be together. Me, I wasn't really into the drama. I wanted to be away from that, and I was still trying to find myself, but I caught that. Now, on the Johnson side, we always tend to stick together, but we always had this thing where, like, we're together, we love each other, we know we exist, we contact each other once in a while. And that's good. That's good enough. It's not the best, but it's good enough. So when I grew up, I didn't really want to be around my family. No offense to any of them. And if you're listening, no offense to you. I loved you. Boo-boo. I loved you, cuz. I loved all of y'all. But as I got older, I wanted something of my own. It wasn't that I thought I was better than you or anybody. It's just that I seen what we had and you seen what we had. And we always talked about having something greater. So I reached out there for that greater. And then I started realizing that culture and that legacy, they kind of mix in. So what I grew up with, the negative and the positive in my life, I didn't want that, the negative for my family. So I took out what I felt needed to be taken out. I mean, if given the opportunity and not only given the opportunity, having the time to go visit those family members when we have family reunions, I do that. But right now, I haven't had time. So, can I make time? I probably could, but it's hard because I'm not on the same channel as some of the family members that I have, you know. We talk once in a while, but we're not on that same page we used to be. When you grow up, you kind of grow apart. And that's the sad part, because I have cousins that I love dearly, and they have kids, and their kids have kids now. So it's been a long time, and a long time coming. But I can go to those family members, and I can tell you that they definitely changed something that they were growing up and experiencing in their life, you know, and changed it for the good for their family. And their kids did it for the next generation. So when you say culture, for me, I think that a culture is something that can change and it can be random. So when I say culture, my immediate Porter family culture, because I carry the legacy of the Porter name with me, along with several others who are part of that but there are some things in that legacy that I don't take with me. There are some things that my dad has done that I would never do and would never take with me and give to my children. But what I will do is I will let them know about that. I will warn them, and then I'm going to let them live the life that they want to live. Hopefully they don't make those steps. So everything negative that I was taught, I never taught that to my children, or I won't teach that to my children, but I will warn them about those things to be aware of, because that's a part of their legacy. It's something that's going to be generationally handed down unconsciously. So consciously, I need to make sure that whatever my kids get, it doesn't have to be the purest, but at least it's a step to moving forward. Because we don't make backwards moves, and our moves are calculated. Not all of us, but mine are. And I make sure that my family tries to live by that. I can't make my kids live by that, but I can instill them with that and make sure they at least understand why I chose that. So when they make a decision, they can sit and they can think about why they chose that. So back to the culture. It's not the black culture for me. It's the Porter culture. If you're a Johnson, it's the Johnson culture. If you're a Smith, it's the Smith. If you're an Altsowich, it's the Altsowich. It's not Jewish. Because you might have a Jewish last name, but you might not live by that legacy that your family left, or your family might have left that legacy, So culture for me is where, yes, there's things that are handed down to you, but you make a change to make it better or worse. It depends, Like, okay, this is another example, because I get this a lot. I don't get this a lot. I don't get it, actually. I don't get how, if somebody is living, okay, let's say your grandfather is robbing banks. Okay? So your grandfather's out there robbing banks when he was a young man, and so it handed down to the son, and then it handed down to the grandson, and then it handed down to the great-great-grandson. Those things like that. You're robbing banks, and you spent more time in prison than you did free to see your family. I've heard it on podcasts. I've seen it on reports where a whole generation will sit in prison. A whole generation of men will sit in prison because of something that they thought was natural to them. And it was natural to them, but it wasn't what they were supposed to do. But that's all they knew, because that was what was handed down to them. So I guess the point of this is we need to make sure that what we're handing down to our children is not going to be toxic or poison. Racism. It's a lot of it out here. The worst thing I've ever dealt with was not white on black. It was black on black, where I had to deal with my own people. I still deal with it. I watched it happen. I've been in lines where I've dealt with someone helping someone of another ethnicity, and then when it comes to me, and me and this person are the same, they treat me just a little bit different. They don't extend that olive branch like they did for the person that they were helping before. As a matter of fact, the attitude's different. I get that a lot where I am living at in Ferguson, where if you live in Ferguson and you're hungry, your best bet is to go to St. Charles, St. Peter, Chesterfield, and things like that. And I know people are like, why would you say that? We supposed to take care of each other. We supposed to look out for each other. Businesses, and there are some awesome businesses out there. There's a catfish place. I don't know the name of it, but it's a catfish place, and it is a bomb. It is in the cuts. And I would love, and I still give them business, but there's some other businesses I won't, because I'm a firm believer of you shouldn't come to work with an attitude. Work is work and home is home. So if you're dealing with something at home, you leave it at home. If you're dealing with something at work, you leave it at work. Customer service is totally different from your boss. If your boss is an asshole to you, he treats you like garbage, yells at you, treats you wrong, then you need to find another job. Don't take that on a person that's taking an order, that's giving an order. Like I just want my food. I don't feel like I have to say hi all the time, but I will because I'm courteous. My mama raised me better than that. So I have to say, hello, how you doing? If I'm walking by you and you're staring at me, I'm going to say hello. If you don't, I'm going to say, well, thank you, have a nice day. Because I was told you kill people with kindness. So that's what I do. I'm not going to stab you or shoot you. I'm not going to rob you or cuss you out and say, fuck you, bitch. I said hi, none of that stuff, because you heard me say hi. I'm just going to say, well, thank you, have a nice day. And if you turn around and retort, I'm going to keep walking. Why? Because you heard me the first time. I don't need to repeat myself. It's not being confrontational. It's just, hey, while you got that message and now you're upset because you felt like somebody disrespected you, now you get to sit and walk around and think about what was just happening. Why did this situation happen? Why do you have to go to the restaurant all the way to Chesterfield instead of the Ferguson? Because people treat you like crap. You go into a restaurant, you don't get, hi, welcome to McDonald's. Hi, welcome to Taco Bell. Hi, welcome to Five Guys. Hi, welcome. Oh, no, let me take Five Guys out of there because Five Guys is awesome here in Ferguson. Florissant, not Ferguson, Florissant. See, that's another thing. You got to go a little bit. You see, people treat you right. People act right. Even the hoodiest of people. But sometimes you got to go far out there. Even if you're looking for a job sometimes. Because have you ever been somewhere in an area that you're not really sure of, and you get customer service, you get food, and you get something, and you feel kind of weird when that person hands you your food, then you look at your food, and your food just don't feel the same. As a matter of fact, you can go to Burger King, and we can't use fries as an example, because everywhere you go, if you're ordering out, your fries is going to eventually get cold really fast. But your burger shouldn't be cold as soon as you get it. Your meat shouldn't be cold between your buns. Your sesame seed buns. You know, when you ask for no tomatoes, you shouldn't get tomatoes. We just went to a place out here in Ohio. And it's called Charlie's. So I went into Charlie's and I wanted a Philly, which was a good Philly. When my son ordered something, I usually order and I don't order tomatoes because I like the tomato to be in there. Kind of surprise me with the tomato. If I see the tomato, I'm turned off and I'll take it out of my sandwich. Any sandwich. But sometimes there's a time where I want a tomato. In a Philly, I wanted the tomato in a Philly, along with everything else in there. My son didn't want the onions or the mushrooms, so he asked for them to come out. We got home onions and mushrooms were in both sandwiches with tomatoes, pickles, and everything. They put pickles in it. So I've never seen a pickle in a Philly. As a matter of fact, I've never seen a tomato in a Philly, but they put it in a Philly, so I ate it. There were no green peppers in there. There were things that I'm used to having in a Philly, but I'm not from Philly, so I don't know what a true Philly is. But I can tell you, that Philly was good, but my son was disappointed because he wanted what he ordered. Have you ever been to one of these restaurants and ordered, like, where was I? I was actually at Five Guys, and I ordered something, a burger, of course, with the Cajun fries, and the Cajun fries were seasoned to death. Or I went to Chipotle on Lindbergh, and the meat was seasoned to death. That means when they put your bowl together or your burrito together, you take a bite out of it, you puckering because your food is seasoned to death. Seasoned to death. So, what bothered me about all of that was whoever's cooking that food, they know what they're doing. You might like it like that, but other people don't. As a matter of fact, when you're working in a restaurant, they usually let you know don't season it as much because people might be allergic to certain things. So that's how companies get open. So if you're looking to sue somebody for negligence, check out these fast food restaurants. I'm telling you, like, they leave themselves wide open and vulnerable for the things that they do and the customer service that they keep, the people that they employ, the supervisors that they have. I've had some terrible supervisors come to me and say, "What do you want?" Not welcome. Not, "Man, what may I get you?" "What do you want? What's up? What's up? We ain't friends. We ain't hanging out. Yeah, we might be black, but we ain't brothers and sisters. We not. You a person and I'm a person. We separate. My mama and your mama don't know each other. My daddy and your daddy know each other. We are not blood. Even if we were, you got a job to do, and I'm your customer. So treat your customer right." But like I said, they don't do that. People don't do that. People don't treat each other right. People don't treat each other with respect. People don't extend that olive branch. So I bet I can change this title to the olive branch. Because the whole point of this conversation is for me to let people understand that we have to be nicer to each other. I said cultures. Like I've said this on another podcast. It's important for us to get together. It's important for us to learn other cultures and experience other people in ways other people live. Whatever color, ethnicity they are, it's important. I remember growing up, I was a 78 baby. So most of the 80s, I used to hear about white people this, white people that, black people this, black people that, Asian people this, Asian people that. Now we're getting out of that. It's 2022. Now we're supposed to be getting past that. We're in an age now where people are sensitive. So now when you say something that offends somebody, you could actually pay for that stuff in blood. Almost. But when I say blood, I don't mean like somebody's going to kill you. I mean like somebody's going to cancel you. Cancel your whole way of living. Get you fired. Karens. Those ladies that used to come walk up on you when you were somewhere and ask you where your parents are, or ask you what you doing. Do you live here? Pull up on you and ask you something that has nothing to do with them because they felt like they were trying to police you. Those people are getting in trouble, which that's good to an extent. I mean, it's always good when a Karen or somebody who's, hey, if you ain't out here breaking the law, then I'm not messing with you. Straight up. If you at the swimming pool, at the hotel, and I just paid for my room and I don't know you, I'm not going to come and ask you, can I see your key? I'm not going to do that because it's none of my damn business. I need to keep my business going. And see, I think those Karens, I feel sorry for them because maybe they haven't experienced other people, other cultures, other things other than the sunny side of their ass. And it can be like that. But I've noticed people who haven't experienced that, haven't went beyond, are the ones stuck in this zone. It's worse when you are born in an area and when you go on vacation, the only thing you do is go to the next city. You don't go to another state. You don't take the opportunity to go see how other countries live, how other cultures live. I'm going to stress this. It's important. It's important that we see that. It's important that we understand that. It's important that we know. We know. You can miss out on the best things, the best people, one of the best ways of life. I say that because, like, look at history. Look at slavery. I'm not saying slavery was a good thing. Slavery was a horrible thing. It was an atrocity. But the more I get to learn about it, the more I know about it. Some things were changed. Some cultures were blended Yeah, there were a lot of people that were herded, raped, pillaged, murdered, daisy chained off a boat, things like that. So there was a lot of things during this history, during these times, that was horrible, because there were horrible people. And then there were a lot that was hey, they just dealt with it and they made what they made, and they got mixed into other cultures. Check this out. Something I found out today when I was at COSI. COSI is a science center in Ohio, like Dublin, Ohio, I believe. And I was looking at the Cuba. Cuba has a lot of black cultures, a lot of darker people in it. And do you know why? Because of slavery. Or because a lot of slaves were trying to escape somewhere. Or a lot of things happened in other countries like that segregated and separated us. Or brought some of us together with other people. Understand that throughout history, as black folks, as Africans, we were inferior to other people because they felt like they were more civilized than we were. Civilized. But they were doing the same things that a lot of African tribes were doing. They were conquering people. They were enslaving their own people. Well, not say their own people, but other tribes. Kings and queens would go and fight other kings and queens, other villages, other countries, other, things like that. So, within all that I was talking about, though, there was this mixing of Spanish and African. In Jamaica, there was this mixing. In all these other countries around, there was this mixing. In Brazil, there was this mixing. In Central America, there was this mixing. In Japan, China, and all these other countries around, there was this mixing of people. So we are everywhere throughout history, and we are everywhere on every single crevice of this planet where there are people. Our ancestry, our DNA is mixed with a lot of different ones. And when I learned about Cuba, the Dominican Republic, other places, is that we mix cultures. So we've created something different, but not just for that culture, for those Dominicans or those Cubans, but for those families, because every family did something different, yet the same, because of the region that they were in. So I think that we need to make sure that we stay humble through all the things that are going on wrong in this world. That we stay humble. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's a lot of distractions out there also. But we got to take care of our families. It don't matter who you are. It don't matter what color you are. It don't matter what ethnicity you are. Raise your children the right way. Make sure they understand that the things that are going on out here, this will pass. It will pass. But make sure you keep your legacy alive. Your positive legacy with your family. The generational stuff that's positive that your grandfather or great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather has passed on. Make sure those things are never forgotten that are positive. Make sure those negative memories, things in history, are not forgotten. They need to be reminded, because there are still people out there that are like that. There are still people that are super bigoted. I know I've ran into a man that one day I was at a car show. He dang near ran my child down. I had to dang near tackle this man. He ran my son down, and I had to turn around and chase him. And I grabbed that man and snatched him. He was one of the owners of one of the cars at the Kansas City Auto Show. And he was in a rush to get somewhere. He started walking. My son was having a fit, and I was already upset with him. But he walked and ran dead into my son, knocking him over. I picked my son up, and I ran down there, and I chased that man. And I snatched him and turned him around. He looked shocked. And I said, that's what you just did to my son, basically. You didn't snatch him and turn him around, but you ran into him. You knocked him off balance. Did that knock you off balance? Now apologize to my son. Apologize to my son for knocking him down. He was a little arrogant. He looked like he wasn't going to, but he seen my fist balled. And at the time, I didn't care where we were, at Municipal Auditorium, wherever. You disrespected my son. You disrespected my family. I'm going to beat your ass. And that's how I felt. He apologized. He apologized, and we kept it moving. His apology, it didn't sound like he really cared, but he apologized. He didn't apologize, turn around, and walk away. He apologized and stood there like he was waiting to get hit. Like he was waiting for the contact. It didn't happen like that. Because I'm not that type of person. I'm not. But when it comes to my family, you don't mess with them. But speaking on that, my son, both my sons, my kids, when they grow up, they're going to know so much about this world. They're going to know so much about these people. And then they get to experience this for themselves. Because I always tell my children, there's one gift that God gives you that you can never lose. Well, you can lose it. You can weaken it. But you can never lose it. And that is, God made you a watcher. He put you on this earth not just to run your mouth, but to sit back and watch what other people do. Watch how other people interact. Watch how other people react towards each other. Watch what people do. I watch it all the time. I watch my favorite things, or to watch these races, these ethnicities. So I was watching something where it's a black girl was talking about she would never mess with a white dude. She would never mess with anybody outside her color. She would never do this. She would never do that. She would never do this. She would never do that. And I was like, well, what about your life? Are you living a good life? Because there's a lot of things that you limited yourself to, and I need to know why. So the explanation of why she limited herself, because white people have been doing this to us for the longest. Why would we want to do this? Or these people have been doing this for the longest. Why would we want to do that? Dude, do you put everybody that's the same ethnicity together in one group? Do you take George Washington's slave owners, Thomas Jefferson's, and make every white person a Thomas Jefferson? Japanese and Chinese had a war. Well, the Chinese were taken over by the Japanese during or a little bit before World War II. These people were tortured, killed, raped, enslaved, made to work until they died. Okay? I'm sure there are some Chinese people that are growing up that are like, I don't like Japanese because this, and this, and this, and that. I can't feel that. I can't feel that. Because I wasn't a part of that part of slavery. I wasn't a part of any part of slavery. I grew up in the early 70s, 80s, and the 90s. And yes, I did deal with some racism. I did deal with some things pulling me back. I dealt with this little white girl that used to come up to the baseball field one day when me and my black friends were sitting out here chilling, and she said, "Ew, niggers," ran down to the baseball diamond where her daddy and all the baseball players, white baseball players, were. And they stormed up here, up the stair, up to the park where we were playing, and we hightailed it home. And they wouldn't follow us in the hood, but they stay in the park. Like, I've dealt with my own people. I dealt with a guy that felt like he needed to continue to harass me when I was a groundskeeper and supervisor. The groundskeeper's job is to pick up trash. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I won't pick up cigarette butts. I got fired for not picking up cigarette butts because the lady wanted me to pick up cigarette butts and I wouldn't do it. So she fired me. But before, I had a supervisor that was a thief. He was trying to do so much depend on me, black guy. So much depend on me and put it on me. Say I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong, I'm doing this wrong. And then I end up catching him stealing. So, of course, I told on him, yeah, because he was stealing. He's been trying to put me under the bus for the longest. So, he had to go. So, what else have I dealt with? I worked at Hyundai. I think I already told this story. I worked at Shawnee Mission Hyundai and had to deal with the brother and his son that wanted to harass me, and the other one wanted to go outside and fight. He lost his job because he wanted to cuss me out and tell me, well, I'm this and that. And you know what? I've dealt with words before. I'm not worried about your words. It doesn't matter anything to me. I've dealt with a lot of things. I've dealt with, like I said before, going into a restaurant, and I feel like it's wrong for us to treat each other a certain way, but then treat other people of other ethnicities right. And I wondered why. And now I kind of see why, but it doesn't make any sense to me because we are all in this together, but then we're not. I'm in it with you until you start acting up and start acting like the rules don't apply to you. Believe me, I'm a true believer of universal privilege. I don't believe in white privilege. I don't believe in black privilege. I believe privilege is privilege. So in some form or fashion, we all act a little privileged about something. Some a little bit or a lot more or extremely more than others. Privilege is privilege. You could put a color to it all you want. You could put an ethnicity to it or a race or whatever you want to call it to it. But privilege is privilege. If you have your head so far in your ass where the only thing you smell is your own shit, and you come outside like that, thinking everyone has to serve you or accommodate to you, then you're privileged. If you're driving down the street, you speed past me on a no passing, you speed past the stoplight and a couple stop signs, speed past the police department, you get pulled over, and then you running around talking about you pulling me over because I'm black, then that's a part of privilege to me. Because now you're taking advantage of the situation at hand where we used to get pulled over for nothing. But you want to break the law, and then you want to come and act privileged and say, oh, well, you just pulling me over because I'm black. No, it's because you ran across some cars on a no passing lane. You ran a stop sign, and you ran 2 stoplights, and then zipped right past the police department. I've seen it happen. Or I know a lot of friends that I have that are very opinionated, and their opinions are very racist. You're privileged. I'm saying you're privileged because you take advantage of something of someone, because you know they're not going to do anything. And when they do, then all hell breaks loose. But for that moment, for that time, you're privileged. Can't nobody tell you nothing. I used to be like that in high school. I had friends that I grew up where the Porters and the Johnsons and one family was blended, the other family wasn't really blended. A lot of my family members, even my mom, had opinions. So when I went to school, I take those opinions to school. I had a lot of white friends, but I had a lot of comments, a lot of things that I had to say about white folks, and I would speak on that. I would speak so harshly and so hard. I couldn't believe when I got older, the friends that have come to me and said, wow, you married to a white woman? The way you used to talk, well, that wasn't your thing. You wasn't trying to deal with none of that. And I can't remember that. A part of me can't remember that. A part of me can remember that. A part of me can remember being very vocal. But also there's a part of me that couldn't remember. They used to call me preacher because I would come and talk about God a lot. God was very important in my life because that was something I was learning and understanding, and I was seeing it, and I was going through a lot of hell, so I needed something to hold on to because I couldn't hold on to my own people. because I didn't know who I was. But not because I had white people in my family or black people in my family, but because I grew up different. I grew up seeing different things. I grew up feeling different ways. I didn't understand why I couldn't have white friends. I could have plenty of black friends, but when it came to white friends, my black friends didn't like me having white friends. It didn't make any sense to me. I had a Hispanic buddy, Alex Torres, homie. Family was awesome. They loved me. But there were some in the family that were like, they don't like black people. You know? So I grew up where like everybody was against black, but black is against black. African Americans are against African Americans. We treat each other so raw to the jaw, so harmful. And then we wonder why. Why are we still going through what we're going through? We're going through what we're going through because we will never and have never stood together for anything. We stand together on things that are, now I wouldn't say irrelevant, but you're not standing the right way. We got a president in office right now who is terrible. We could have voted that to where we could have got something other than a Biden. I would have dealt with Trump. Not because I'm a Trump fan, but because I don't think he's racist. I think he's just moneyist, and that's just the way I feel about it. You can say whatever you say, but and you feel however you feel. You can feel like I'm stupid for saying that, but I could pull up a lot of Joe Biden talk, and Joe Darth Vader Biden, the one that people voted for. He has videos all throughout the internet, all throughout social media. Just racist, belligerent, rude, nothing to do with us. So, and if you want those links, I'll give them to you. I have no problem. I'll put them somewhere where you can get them, or you can just look it up yourself. But he was privileged enough to say some of the things he said, and nobody's done anything. And then he had somebody gave him the privilege of being the president of the United States of America. And we thought just because he had another black man, or he was beside a black man, that he was going to do something for the black communities. When the black communities need to stand up and do it for themselves. The black communities in the Americas and in other countries need to get up and do it for themselves. Get off of unemployment. Get off of all the things that the government is trying to give you to hinder you. Go out and get a job or start a business. Do something lucrative with yourself so you can pass that legacy on to your family so they can work just as hard, if not even harder, on the things that you've done. That's what being in America was supposed to be all about. It's a dream. It could be a nightmare or a dream. It could be whatever you want it to be. I think I want it to be a dream. I think I want it to be the best damn dream that I've ever had. So I can make it even better for my children, and then they can make it even better for their children. Instead of complaining about what the white man did or what my own people did. Boo-hoo. When. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. No. Who cares if they care or don't love you? Do what you're supposed to do. That's one thing I say about Kanye. He don't care how you feel. He don't care if you love him, hate him. He's going to be him. So he can be him. But I choose to be me through God. And I choose to take care of my family because they mean more to me than anything on this earth. I don't want my children to grow up and see or hear the things that I've had to deal with and take it hard and struggle through it. I want them to take that and I want them to thrive. I want, like, the foreigners come from other countries, they come here and they blow up. They work hard, they get what they have, and we think that stuff's being handed to them. But no, it's generational. They work. Their work ethic. They come from a third world country. They come from a country where they've been persecuted or stopped from doing something or put down for something that they wanted to do. and they feel like, hey, I'm surviving here. I dang sure can survive in America. It's the land of milk and honey. It's actually the land of milk and honey. It's just there's a lot of spoiled milk and some you got to microwave the honey sometimes because it gets real hard. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too much of the time. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this episode. I wanted to say culture clash, privilege, question mark. But I'm just gonna leave you guys with this. If you have an opportunity to go somewhere and do something positive with your life, don't let nobody, I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your friends, if you run into that woman or that man that is beautiful, handsome, treats you right, they just happen to be another ethnicity, and your family's not for that, that's not your family don't have to wake up and grow up with that. Your family, your grandparents, your parents, they're going to die soon. If not 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Depends on when God takes them away. Do you want to carry that ignorance on to your grandchildren? We have to be really, really careful about what we do now, because not only is this world getting soft, but this world is very, very sensitive, very followish. We need something to believe in. We can't believe in ourselves. We're not strong enough. I'm strong enough, but are you? Does that make sense? This is Michael Porter with another episode of That Doesn't Make Sense. Please like, subscribe, donate. I think I have a site where you can drop in a couple bucks here or two. Do that. I got to keep things going here. Right now, I'm out of town in an office space where, I was dealing with a gentleman that I asked him if there was a space I can record, black gentleman. He said, no, right there in the business center. The business center has an open door. I said, I do podcast. He said, right there, pointed at the business center. He didn't understand I needed privacy, or he just didn't care. And the way he did it, it was kind of like sarcastic, like, yeah, right there. So I waited till the next day. Brother. I went downstairs the next day, went to this young lady, Caucasian, really sweet, really nice. As a matter of fact, she was going through something with another guy. The guy was wanting to switch his rooms, and she wouldn't let him switch his rooms because he already paid for the rooms, and it's the Embassy Suites. So they fill it up. They can't accommodate for the people who have already been to move you in another room. That room might already be spoken for. She was explaining that to them in the nicest way, and he still was persistent. He didn't want to let up. Finally, he let up. So she looked like, I thought she was a little agitated, but she was awesome. She was awesome. And she brought me to another lady named Ray. And that lady lent me this room for an hour. And God bless her. And the people here, I think this is Columbus, Ohio, at the Embassy Suites. They're awesome. Even Alexander. I'm not going to give him any crap. Maybe he just didn't understand. He might not listen to podcasts. See what I'm saying? So if I was closed-minded, then I'll be like, oh, he's being racist, or he's treating his brothers and sisters crap. But sometimes we do things and we don't realize what we're doing. Sometimes we're on autopilot and we don't realize that we can step out and be human for a minute. Another example, and then I'll leave you guys. I went to the bank to cash a check. I have a godchild. I love her dearly. I'll do anything for her. I opened a bank account because she wasn't old enough for her to have a bank account. She was at work. She got overdrawn. So when I came, when I walked up to the lady, I handed her my check. I complimented her on her hair because she had dreads all the way down to her back, but she had it tied up in a way where it was really nice, and it was rare for me to see that. Usually people just leave their stuff all funky. She had it looking good. It was on fleek. And I complimented her on it. And that just happened to be something that she wanted, because not from me, but just from anybody, because she was unsure about that. She woke up. Sometimes people are unsure about that. You wake up and you feel like crap, and then somebody tells you, oh, you look good. and she liked that. So, back to the goddaughter thing. So I gave her my check. She said, "Do you want to hear about your bank account first?" I said, "Yeah, I got $6 in there. I know what I had in there because I'm putting money in my account." She said, "No." She said, "Here, you got a negative such and such, and this is why." And I said, "Wait a minute, that's not mine. That's not mine. That's my god baby's account. That's not supposed to affect me." She said, "Well, it does. It does. They told you that, and a bank account got closed, but so." Their policy is when you're in negative balance, is they're going to hold on to that check until that situation is fixed. Probably use that check towards that negative balance. So that's what could have happened, but she didn't do that. She slid me the check back, and I told her that's not my account. So she said, "You want me to put it in the other account? Our policy is we can't do that. This, and that, but I'm gonna hook you up." She hooked me up. She was really nice. And I hope that she continues to be that sweet person that she was, that young lady. And I wish I knew her name. Commerce Bank, the employee was awesome. The banking, I'm not really sure about Commerce. Commerce is kind of fishy to me. Sometimes things get done that shouldn't get done, or I'm just not really happy with. But it's okay. It's okay. Those key people that stick out when it comes to helping people. And she didn't help me because I was black. She didn't help me she helped me because that was her job, and she went out of her way because it was her job to satisfy that customer and make that customer come back and write a nice report about them. Those go a long way when you're trying to get a raise. Yes, every little thing helps. So quit trying to sabotage people, and people who are working in these jobs that you don't want, quit these jobs. If you don't like your job, I'm a firm believer, quit your job. Let your bills pile up for a while and go back. And then you're going to miss your job. You're going to appreciate your job. This is Michael Porter on That Doesn't Make Sense. Like I said, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. You can donate to the cause. Pretty soon here I'll have a Patreon site, and that Patreon site will be Patreon. Oh gosh, I can't remember. It's gonna be That Doesn't Make Sense on Patreon. So you go on the Patreon site, pop up That Doesn't Make Sense, all one word, and it'll pop up. Or you can actually donate to Sneaking Into Movies, because that Patreon site is up. But just support. That's all we need is a little support. This is Michael Porter. Thank you. Good night.